To continue this session, we would like to call on stage our very dynamic Minister of State and Chairperson, Benazir Income Support Program, and let's hear out what she has to say about leadership and socio-economic development. Marvi Memon.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Aap sab logon ko assalamu alaikum. You've put me in a very difficult situation this morning in my hometown, and the difficult situation is that I'm speaking after my mentor, Dr. Atta, and my first boss who taught me marketing, Manan, and I have been marketing all my life after that. And so I shall do my best. I'm here to speak about leadership and socio-economic development. Asfar always gives me this subject, and then he expects me to say something new every single time. So I shall try and say something new this time. But the core message will still be the same. You are probably aware that my current responsibilities in the PMLN government under the leadership of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and the Finance Minister Senator Ishaq Dar is the Benazir Income Support Program. We support nearly 3 million women, poorest of the poor. I will come to that later. I was thinking last night on a very late flight from Islamabad to Karachi about leadership. And I often think about leadership, and then I think about corporate leadership, and I try to think about political leadership. Then I think corporate, political. And I try and, since I'm from originally the corporate world, and I have ended up in the political world, I try and find a balance. So today I will give you 8 points. And I will try and restrict them to my 8 points as to what I find needs to be present in both. And a lot of corporate people are sitting in this room this morning. I was extremely impressed that they were, here on a Saturday on time. And the corporate world seems to be slightly not, I wouldn't say disconnected, but I would say not so, happy is not the right word either, but not so connected and not so familiarized with the political leadership world. And there's always all these misgivings on the political side. So I'm going to try and stand up for both my communities and both my constituencies, because my original constituency is sitting right here, and my current constituency I represent with great pride. The first is vision. And I think we all started talking about vision. And the famous saying about vision, I want to read it out because there are many visionary documents that have come out. I've just chosen one of them. There are millions, you can choose more. And I don't even need to take the name, you'll all recognize it. You need to have a dream in this world. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And I won't take the name of the man who said it. It does not matter because all of you know who said it. The point I'm trying to make is that you need to have a dream. And that's where leadership starts. And I think that's the conversation that was going on before with my ex-boss. You'll have to, Manan, you'll have to keep, I just, because I learned marketing from you, so I'll have to keep referring to you. And Dr. Atta Saab, you are like a mentor, so I will have to keep referring to. I have so many other friends here as well. The second point I want to talk about is that when we talk about leadership, we really want to talk about a leadership, not just, and this is specifically on the political side. A leadership which has the capacity to listen, like I just heard right now. A leadership that has the capacity for the following. I'm not going to read it out, the man who said it, and the country in which it was said. Most of you will recognize it. Leadership needs to be empathetic, to empathize. Leadership needs to understand that mistakes have been made in the past. And leadership needs to understand that those mistakes need to be heard, listened to, acknowledged, and then we need to move on. Because if we keep going on and on and on and on, then we have the kind of current situation that's going on right now. We apologize for the laws and policies of successive parliaments and governments that have inflicted profound grief, suffering, and loss on these, our fellow Australians. We apologize especially for the removal of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children from their families, their communities, their country. For the pain, suffering, and hurt of those stolen generations, their descendants, and for their families left behind, we say sorry. To the mothers and the fathers, the brothers and the sisters, for the breaking up of families and communities, we say sorry. And for the indignity and degradation thus inflicted on a proud people and a proud culture, we say sorry. I'm trying to say something here. What I'm trying to say is, perhaps more political than corporate, but even on the corporate side. When there are mistakes that are made, and when there is a past, and you need to move on, you need to acknowledge, and you need to acknowledge by perhaps listening, empathizing, saying sorry, and moving on. Because if you don't, then you keep going back in the same circle. And that circle is a circle of darkness that Dr. Atta referred to. And that is the problem currently. I have given a solution. The third element, which I'm extremely fond of, which I have learned again from my bosses, is consistency. Just don't give up. When you believe in something, just don't give up. So that consistency I have learned from my political bosses as well. We're extremely resilient, the political community. You can throw as many, आपने अभी बात की थी, आपके खुदा ना खासा कोई eggs नहीं फेंकेगा, क्योंकि आप हमारे हीरो हैं. लेकिन माशाल्लाह सियासतदानों के ऊपर तो एग्स बंद ही नहीं होते. ना सोशल मीडिया पे बंद होते हैं, ना टीवी पे बंद होते हैं, ना सड़कों पे बंद होते हैं. We try our best, but consistency. I think that is one of the core things. If we consistently believe, and that is what I have learned from all the leaders that I have worked with over the last so many, I'm 43, I started working at the age of 16, so you can calculate how many years I've been working. Consistency. Belief and consistency. I come to struggle, point number 4. And I want to quote my 2 favorite stories. And I have to, and if it takes time, I have to. I have to get to 2 jalsas in the middle of the interior sin, so I need to run. But these 2 stories are really important to my core being. I take my political strength from, of course, my political leadership, like I said, the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. But I also take it from a spiritual point of view, from Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai. And Bhitai Sarkar's he has 7 surmis, because I'm sitting in Sindh, so I mean, hopefully the story is not unknown. But I will quote 2 of my favorite stories out of his 7 surmis. His 7 heroines, all his heroines were women. So जब यहाँ women empowerment की बात हुई है, I'm representing Benazir Income Support Program, मैं उस पे आती हूँ 2 minutes पे. The 2 stories that have hit me most out of his 7 surmis are, of course, 1, Marvi, who stood up to the king of the day, to the hierarchy of the day, and she said no to the riches of the world. She said no to being queen, and she wanted to go back to her people. She said no to them. She struggled. So I'm talking about the struggle. When I talk about leadership, I talk about a constant struggle. We're in it for life. My DP on the Twitter says committed to the soil for life, and I really mean it, but it's a constant struggle. Leadership is a constant struggle. She struggled, she struggled, she struggled. She was actually Umar finally got let go of her. The second heroine, which is equally interesting, is Noori. Jam Tamachi was the man. Happens to be in my constituency. These places exist in Sindh, in Balochistan, in Turbat, etc. They're real stories. They're not like fairy stories. Noori was a fisherman's daughter, really poor, really young. The king of the area, Jam Tamachi, came to propose to her. The parents were extremely excited. And they, of course, said, of course. When they asked Noori, Noori said, I have a few conditions. The entire village was shocked that a girl of 14 years could have conditions to marry a king. And her conditions were, get rid of the tax on my fishermen, XYZ. But she had enough sense, she had enough common sense, enough passion in her. I would call that leadership at the age of 15, 16, to be able to say no to a king and to be able to have certain list of, if you like, a list of things that he needed to do before she would accept his grand proposal. I've only given you two. There are many such examples of many, many strong stories of women empowerment. I move to the next one, which is my favorite, which is fifth. I'm nearly getting there. Is the one which is realizing responsibility. Leadership needs to realize their responsibility. Now, I'm talking corporate and I'm talking political because I'm talking to my constituencies both. Those nations which have the power have the responsibility. This applies to all of you as well. You have the power, you have the responsibility. And I think the day we realize these two words are connected, there will be better leadership in both the corporate sector and the political sector. I was slightly sort of not so happy that, my constituency was put down a little bit on the political side, that there is no political leadership, but even on the corporate side, things can get much better, and I like that question, of what is that one thing that can get better? Well, you have the power, you have the responsibility. I now move to the one that is my favorite, passion. I don't need to say anything more. And whoever is a leader in this room is only a leader in this room because they have that passion. And I learned passion perhaps a long time back, but if you don't have passion 24/7, seriously, you cannot do it. You need to die for it, you need to believe in it, you need to dream of it. And yeah, leaders perhaps don't get much sleep because they're constantly obsessed. So yeah, it's obsessive. This passion has to be obsessive for you to get excellence. There was this line that you had to exceed expectations. And I have tried always to remember that. Whether I have worked at Citibank, whether I have worked at developing Tracker, whether I have worked setting up the media management cell of the armed forces, whether I have worked in parliament, whether I have now worked not as opposition but as a government sitting a cabinet minister. But the fact of the matter is passion, 24/7 obsession. If you don't have that obsession, you don't have that leadership. And अभी बात हुई कोरिया की और ये walking the talk उसी में से है. You have to walk the talk. They have to see you walking the talk. Because if you can't walk the talk, you cannot demonstrate leadership. And finally, I close this and I say the last but the most important for politicians and also for you, and something that helped me in my early corporate days, which I have learned from. Perhaps I'm not so good at it because I'm a bit blunt as a politician and I'm not so great like that, but negotiation and compromising. To be a good leader, you need to have those qualities. And now, ladies and gentlemen, now that the leadership part of this little chit-chat is over, I come to socio-economic development. I'm here to make my general pledge. I come to Karachi on a monthly, bi-monthly, every 2 months basis, and I look at the richest businessmen in town, in the country. I look at the economic powerhouse of this country. And I say to them the same message. We have nearly 5.3. पहले 5, 5.2 आपको बताती थी ना, मेरे numbers increase कर रहे हैं. I have sent to all of you our achievement sheets. We're the only government ministry who has sent achievement cards to each one of you. You will be getting them soon. And we don't do anything without a reason. That's what I've been taught in the corporate world. You don't spend a penny without wanting a return on your investment. I have sent you these sheets. I have emailed them to you. I have TCS them to you. I have also social media'd it to you. These are achievements. I want you to be part of our family. When we talk about leadership, mix your corporate leadership with the political leadership. And I'm giving you that perfect mix. There was a little joke on Twitter last night about me being chief guest here or chef guest here. Well, I'm chief and chef. I want to create an ingredient here. For the 100th time, I am appealing. And I will keep appealing till I get what I want. And it's not what I want, it's what I need for my people, for your people. It's not just my people. The poorest people of this country belong to all of us. They don't just belong to the Benazir income support program. I am not just the custodian of those 5.3 million poorest of those poorest women. You are equally responsible. You do amazing corporate social responsibility. And I come every single time and I say, join hands with me. I have this perfect database. Come and use that database. Do your CSR through our lists. And we will ensure that you reach the poorest of the poor. And I'm coming to you on May 20th, is that right? Today is May 20th. I seem to keep forgetting the dates. I travel, 21st. Yeah, I travel so much I don't even remember the cities or the dates anymore. I'm coming to you at a time, I do remember this, a couple of weeks just before Ramzan. So I will definitely take this opportunity. You are a very giving community. I have a super duper budget from my government. I will not ask for a penny more from my bosses because the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister have given me the largest budgets ever. And I'm not going to announce the budgets because the media is standing right here and they want to have an announcement on the next budget for BISP. So definitely you're not getting that from me. You will get that announcement from the Finance Minister on budget day. But it's known that BISP budgets have never been cut, they have always been increased because the PMLN government believes in giving more and more to the poor. We do poverty management. I'd like you to do poverty alleviation with me. So we have a list. I want you to use it. I want you to use it and use it the way you want. We have demographic profiles of every single district, from Toba Tek Singh to Thata. From north to south, east to west. You choose your place, you choose your project, but try those projects on the people who are the poorest of the poor. And now I will make a final appeal which will really make two gentlemen sitting in the front row really, really happy, and which is that we have started e-commerce with tcsyevo.com. And that was launched by the Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. The results so far are that one man, Mr. Hunaid Lakhani, of your community, was kind enough, because I made a phone call, and I said, please, Hunaid, pick up and send these gifts to all your rich friends. He picked up 144 products, and he sent them. Well, where is the rest of the so-called philanthropic community? आप कर रहे हैं philanthropy. मैं मानती हूँ कि आप कर रहे हैं, लेकिन BISP के थ्रू कर लीजिए. और मैं TCS को बेच नहीं रही, मैं सिर्फ ये कह रही हूँ कि it's just the best way of doing it. Dr. Saab, with due respect, I don't want these 3D shawls made by your computers because you're going to cut out on my customer base. My customer base is my 5.3 million women who make my chadars. I wear them with great pride. They are my respect. I loved your technology bit, but with due respect, they make the best handmade products in this country. Guaranteed. Why aren't you buying them? Why aren't you presenting them? Why aren't you promoting them? If you are leadership and you believe in joining corporate leadership with political leadership, despite your differences, I really don't mind who's sitting in the audience. You could be anti-PMLN, you could be pro-People's Party, you could be pro-whatever party, PTI, MQM, you name it, JUI, whatever. It does not bother me. When we talk about the poor, we're in it together. Well, we have a perfect platform. We have created the perfect ingredient, the chef, the cooking pot is right there. And Ramzan is round the corner. You need presents to be given. I'm sorry, I'm not cutting out on your chocolates and flowers, TCS, but you know, we can do a lot more innovative presents and gifts, and you can get these women out of poverty. That way, you contribute, because everyone's in it for something, so let me give you the why you need to do it. You contribute in Ramzan, Allah Sai is happy. You contribute, you get people out of poverty, hopefully your conscience is better. You contribute, you get people out of poverty. ये जो बातें इतनी सारी जो अभी डॉक्टर साहब ने की हैं, ये सारी चीज़ें डार्कनेस से लाइट में तब्दील हो जाएंगी. निकालें पॉवर्टी से लोगों को. मैं और हुकूमत अकेले नहीं कर सकते. हम अपने बजट्स डाल रहे हैं, लेकिन सिर्फ चैनलिंग और फोकसिंग की ज़रूरत है कि इतना सारा फिलंथ्रॉपिक फंडिंग है इस मुल्क में, एंड देयर इज़ नो डर्थ ऑफ philanthropic funding. And a lot of people don't even want to talk about where they give, who they give. Don't touch a button. It's called online. Just order. You order, you give jobs, you give employment. You get those people out of their doom and gloom. People sitting in this room are not doom and gloom. They might have dreams, they might be frustrated, they might be trying to reach certain places. Each one of us have our own daily frustrations. But you have not seen poverty. And I'm sorry, Asfar, but I will say this in every single one of the functions that you invite me to. Nobody has experienced poverty, probably in this room. I haven't. But I have seen it far more than anyone else, because I have traveled the length and breadth of this beautiful country, and I have seen those women. Teen waqt ki roti is not just a political statement. You can lift them out by simply going online and clicking and making orders and getting them to work. They want to work. They want to create handmade beautiful things. You order in any case. You buy in any case. Buy from them. Order from them. Get 5.2 million women out of poverty. It's my final appeal to you. Like I said, leadership for me is vision. It's about forgiving, moving on. It's about consistency. It's about having this struggle, constant struggle. And it's about realizing responsibility. It's about passion. It's about walking the talk. It's about negotiation and compromise. But more than anything else, something that I have always looked up at. Dreams are for real. So for the leadership that is sitting here, whatever the dreams are, you can make it happen. Dreams are for real. Pakistan, Payindabad.